Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everybody? It's Geoff Mosher and Adam Caplan for a special bi-week edition of Inside the Birds. And what we're going to do, because we don't have a game to preview tonight, is we're going to talk about the state of the Eagles in two parts. This part one is going to drop as you're listening to it. Has dropped, and we're going to go through the offense position by position. We'll kind of break it down, how it's been, what we expect, what we've heard, things of that nature. And then on Monday morning, you'll hear our review of the defense. And not just a review, but also what we expect.
Preview of what to expect.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. A preview of what we're expecting in the second half. Yep. So we're going to really go through the team from soup to nuts over the next two podcasts. So that's that. I look forward to it. Adam, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but Trey Thomas and Derek Gunn did Grilling the Birds, as they do every week, and really funny stuff. They gave out their midterm grades.
Oh, so we because these two shows are really there. It just so happens this is another part of these shows which really works out well for all of us. It just so happens that their bye lands smack right in the middle of the midseason. They've had 8 games out of 16. Like, what are the chances? Mm-hmm. So we all got lucky. Anyone who's got to cover this team, like you and I are, and Trey and Todd Herremans and Jamal Jackson and Derek Gunn, we got lucky. It fits right in the middle.
Yes, it does. And speaking of that, Tales from the Blind Side came out earlier in the week, also on the Inside the Birds YouTube platform with Jamal Jackson, Todd Herremans, and Trey Thomas. So check that out. And we're going to be joined by Todd Herremans for our next ITB TV. Now, this one's going to be interesting because the last time we spoke to Todd was in the summer, and we were really talking a lot about Jason Peters and whether he's going to play right guard, and Todd was a big proponent of his ability to play right guard, which has never happened. So we'll get Todd's perspective on Jordan Mailata, Nate Herbig, the entire offensive line, and just,
a lot going on there.
Yeah, how much he's seen from them. And so it's a lot to pay attention to. And you can still check out our Inside the Birds ITB TV interview with Ed Werder. I think that's still
great.
A lot of stuff about Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. He. I mean, I work with Ed for 4.5 years, so nothing surprises me because he's very critical. I mean, when we were doing NFL Insiders, and he would take a shot at the Patriots, and this is when they were having their issues. Let me see. What was the latest controversy about 4 or 5 years ago? What was it?
With Dallas?
No, but no, I'm talking about the Patriots. It's not Spygate. What was the last one they had?
Deflategate. Yeah,
right. And Ed's fearless like that. So on this show that we did last week with Ed on the Cowboys, I mean, he was very critical. He said some things which I was not expecting, and that's why I love the guy. He's so much fun to work with. Very great sense of humor, very sarcastic, but the information overall was fantastic in it. If you hate the Cowboys like most of our listeners, you'll really enjoy this one.
Definitely. Check that out. It's on the Inside the Birds YouTube platform and podcast platform as well. Right. Okay, let's get into some transactions. Obviously not a game week, so the transactions are not the same. Very few. On Tuesday, the Eagles waived tight end Jason Kroom. On Wednesday, they re-signed him to the practice squad. On Thursday, Marcus Epps went on the reserve COVID-19 list. If you're going to have that happen, I guess this is the week for it, because he technically has enough days, right, to be able to get back on the field for the Giants game.
Let's hope for his sake that he's okay. And the other thing is that through contact tracing that no one else goes on it, because we have no idea yet. As of Friday morning, we don't know if anyone else is going to go on it that was around Marcus, so we'll find out.
So it was a rough week. It was a rough week for the league. I mean, a lot of teams, clearly were dealing with the COVID shutdowns.
Yeah, and this is the first Eagles player, Geoff, if I'm not mistaken. I don't recall many other than
Matt Pryor went on it, but that's because
briefly. During the regular season, I could, but I know this. Jordan Mailata was on it for the first 2 weeks of training, but I'm thinking regular season, was Pryor on it in the regular season?
Yeah, it was about 3 weeks ago.
All right,
he was on it.
It was short though. It was short.
Right. It was just, and it was really, I think he was, it wasn't him who tested negative.
Oh, yeah. It was through contact tracing with someone who was around. Correct. You're right.
Right.
Good.
Okay. So, and visits, from a visit standpoint, the Eagles welcomed back for a visit defensive tackle Anthony Rush, who is, he knew the flight plans pretty well since he's been here a couple of times. And Trayvon Hester, right? He was cut loose. I thought he failed a physical or had some kind of
with Green Bay.
issue.
Yeah, he was with Green Bay, and then they cut him. The way this won't take very long. It's just to give you an idea of why they're here, because of the fact that they lost Hassan Ridgeway for the season, and Malik Jackson is having recurring issues with his quadricep strain, and he keeps leaving the game, and he's not able to finish. That's a problem. So you need guys who know the system that could come in and play. Rush played some key minutes last year. This is when he actually dressed as their third D tackle. He might have started too. I remember they were down to 2 D tackles one game. And Hester, we know about the double doink. That's it. That's the only reason. So what happens is here, if they feel the need to sign them, one of them to the practice, they won't sign both. But if they have a need to sign one of the practice squad, they'll do that. That's it. They need to see also the big reason I was told, they got to see what kind of shape they're in. I know Rush, at one point in his career, was over 360. So they need to make sure he's in good enough physical shape. Now, he was with Seattle, so he should be. Right. I was told Seattle was really looking him as a run-down guy only, and also only situational for him. If it was against a team that was going to run the ball a lot, they'd use him. If not, they would not dress him. So they just didn't have any use for him. And Trayvon Hester is a guy they know, and he's long. So is Rush. They're both of good size, and if they need him, they'll use him. That's it.
Sure. Now, unbeknownst to me until I watched the tape, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this number is not familiar to me. Raekwon the Chef Williams got in for 16 snaps against Dallas Cowboys because he didn't make a tackle. He was not on the stat sheet, so I wasn't aware of it.
What number was
until,
he? You know?
61.
61. Wow. Yeah. That was that?
Oh, you're going to try to come back with a famous 61 for me?
I'm seeing it. I can't get it. Damn it. I can't get it.
61. Like Max Gene Gillies, I think, was 65. Was he not? Jamal Jackson was 67.
That was before Lane then. He would have had to have been before Lane. Isn't Lane Johnson 65?
Yeah, well, of course Max Gene Gillies was before. I mean, Lane was in diapers when Max Gene Gillies was starting for the Eagles.
Max Gene Gillis, okay, he was here with the late Howard Mudd. Mudd was not a fan of his, if I recall correctly. Yeah,
he was very big, and Mudd liked the smaller athletic
correct,
guys.
100%. You nailed it. Yep.
Yeah, and Max always struggled with his weight. Although I heard he lost a ton of weight.
Did he?
After his playing career.
Oh,
was,
really?
Really healthy. Yeah, he was 62, by the way, not 61. So I was close.
61. I remember a backup white center, maybe. I don't know who that was.
Yeah, anyway. I don't remember either.
Someone will tell us. I love when they'll shout us out on Twitter. Hey, by the way, it was
Paul Grassmanis.
Grassmanis was like 98.
Yeah, he was a 90s.
Yeah.
It would have to be either a center, most likely, like an interior offensive lineman, but the Eagles don't play a 3-4. Sometimes you see those 350-pound nose tackles. Right. Exactly. So yeah, but no. So Raekwon got in there. Didn't obviously he played 16 snaps. I don't know if he flashed or not. I mean, I watched the tape.
I didn't hear anything about him.
Yeah, he wasn't in enough to really do anything. So
I would have known. Let's put it this way: the one of the 3 people I spoke about the Eagles tape last week, someone would have mentioned it because then we'll get into their offensive line in a minute when we do our midseason review and then preview for the second half. But yeah, that's a guy that. Typically the way it works is when I talk to teams, they'll mention, hey, they'll actually ask me, hey, do you know anything about this player? He looked good. I'm like, oh, if I don't know anything, I'll check into it just to see. Like, they just want to know what the feeling, how the Eagles feel about these players, or what's his role in that. Because they can only go by tape study. They don't know, they don't know much about other than what they see, and they know snap counts and all that. So that's that. So I'm looking forward to this. It's gonna be a good show.
Yeah, by the way, I think Fraley was 63. Right?
Yes. Honey Buns was 63, yeah.
All right, so he wasn't a 61 either. And I don't remember what Danny Watkins was.
I got it, and I'm not going to look it up. It was Stefan Wisniewski, right?
Stefan Wisniewski was 61?
Was he? All right, I'm looking it up.
All right, you look it up. I know our listeners are dying to know.
I don't know whether there's something
They're
wrong.
They're probably shouting it into the – yes, Stefan Wisniewski was 61. You're right.
See, I told you it was a white center.
There you go. He never actually played center for the Eagles, but he was a center. You're right, with Oakland, right, in Jacksonville?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, interestingly enough.
Correct.
All right. Now that we've bored everybody with numbers,
this is my psychosis. There's something wrong with. Why do I care about jersey numbers? I don't know.
I don't know. You're good with that. You're way better than me. I don't have a very good memory.
That's how. Well, no, what I did was when I was a kid, I would learn players through football cards and numbers. I didn't know I couldn't remember their names.
There you go.
So I met a guy, Jim Stuckey, who played for the 49ers, who was 79.
Mm-hmm.
I met him in a Super Bowl, and he goes, "Hey, Jim Stuckey, blah, blah, blah." I said, "You went to Clemson, you were number 79." And he goes,
he start running away from you immediately.
No, he's like, "How do you know that? Were you a Niner fan?" I said, "No, but I followed you because you were on the Niners Super Bowl teams, and I just remember you, like, Bill Ring was number 30. Like, I should know these things."
Right.
I love the scrubs, though. The scrubs are my favorite.
I love it.
I will give you $25 if you could tell me what number Michael Gasperson was.
You think he was 89?
I don't know. If you're right.
Oh, you don't know? I thought you were quizzing me.
No, I don't know. I want to see if you know it.
First of all, I don't know why you pronounce it that way. It's Michael Gasperson. It was not Gasperson.
Well, how would I know? Come on.
It's like you're making him French or so. Gasperson.
Right. Well, we're gonna get you saying Jordan Mailata first instead of Mailata.
Oh God, yeah, I know I'm bad at that. Michael Gasperson was 19, actually. I was way off. I said 89.
Oh my God, I got it right. I didn't want to say it. I thought he was 18. No, here's the funny thing. I couldn't remember if Brian Finneran was 19 or Gasperson because they're the same size. They're tall.
Right.
Oh my God, I knew it. I got it. Would have got it right if I said it. Oh, that's not good.
There
I
you
should
go.
know that.
All right. He's actually also 14 at one time. I'm seeing him in a 14.
We better get started because people are going to go, "What the hell's our problem? Why aren't they starting?" You're right.
Hey, this is what the bye week is for, man. We have fun. We do numbers.
Let's get the nonsense out. Yeah, let's get it.
All right. By the way, do you know what Reggie Brown's middle name? No, I'm just kidding. I kid. All right. We will break down offense, starting with quarterback in a second. First, let me guys tell you what we've been telling you all year long. PHLSportsNation.com is the place to be. Make sure you head on over to their website. They're always enhancing the fan experience like nobody else, covering all 4 Philly teams and 5. I always say the Union. They have great Union coverage too. So make sure you check them out. They've got great podcasts, great content at PHL Sports Nation on Twitter. And let's pause real quick for a word from our sponsors, including our friends at Sky Motor Cars. All right, let's talk about the offense. That's the whole pod. We're going to do quarterbacks first, a natural place to start. You know, the question we get a lot, Adam, is, and it's it's hard to answer. And I feel like we've talked about it, we've given our insight, we've given our intel, but it's still kind of, why is Carson struggling, and how do we get it out of it, or how do they get it out of him, and is it a question of the player or the coaching? And I think the best answer that we try to give is it's a little bit of chicken and egg. I mean, it's a little bit of both all wrapped into one. I'm not sure which comes first though.
Right. Oh God. Yeah. Now you put it that way. I'm going to start it off like this. Okay. Cause most of this show is going to be on Wentz, although we're going to cover everything, and we've got we got new information, different information, kind of getting opinions from people that we trust. But Wentz clearly is trying to do too much. That is the prevailing opinion I've gotten from several people that I trust. And the thing is, and we haven't talked about this much, but this does bother me. When it's not there, he's trying to make it there. This means. Like in the Pittsburgh game, he looked like vintage Wentz from 17. He was phenomenal. He really was from beginning to end. A great game against Pittsburgh. But most of the time this season, it's a good throw, a very good throw, bad. Why were you throwing that? He cannot, as you said on our previous show, play a consistent game. He just thinks that he can make any throw to anyone, no matter what the conditions. And the Dallas game, you got to coach to the conditions. The win was bad. For the most part, It was bad. He's got to have better situational awareness, something we've not talked about a lot. We need to keep talking about more. Know the situation. Know who you're working with. I like that he thinks certain guys can win, but if they're not winning, when it's schemed open or they get open, give them the football. When it's covered, don't throw it to him or throw it out of bounds. He'll still throw it to them, even when they're covered. But when the throw's not there, that's bad football. Yeah. That's not acceptable, Geoff. That's the problem with this guy right now.
I'm glad you said that word, that term, situational awareness.
Yeah, jump in. Go.
Because that is a big issue. And when we talk about situational, and I brought this up last podcast, but I want to hit it hard, a lot of Carson Wentz's turnovers are taking place on first and second down. It's one thing if it's, you're in a bad offense, it's 3rd and 8, you're getting blitzed, there's nothing you can do, you're trying to make a play. Okay, first and second down is not the time to play hero ball unless the pass is there and it's wide. It's not the time to roll out of the pocket and hold on to the ball and hold on like that. That was, I believe, his first fumble, I think, was either on first or second down. It was play action. It was a 2-man route because they put 2 tight ends on the line of scrimmage. They're trying to make Dallas look like they're running. He rolls out to the right. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. Throw the ball away. That's exactly. You can blame anything. Yeah, look, I'm not going to argue with people who want to talk about Doug Peterson, the offensive line. There's a lot that goes into someone struggling, okay? But there are too many times where you just say, this is not the play design, not the play call, not the offensive line, not even a great defensive effort. It's just a time where Carson didn't do what he should have done. And that's what you're saying. Situationally, he has been very delinquent all year long in that.
Right, you had a really good phrase. I mean, just verbiage. Probably 6 weeks ago, you said, first time I ever heard someone say this, if he just plays average football, because you said, like, he's not going to continue to play like this badly, they'll be so much better. Well, you saw the Pittsburgh game when I came in to that game. Now they wound up losing 38-29 or something like that. There was no way to think they could score like they did against Pittsburgh, but that was the breakout game for Fulgham when he had 150 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Just think of it when he plays a minimum of average football, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their defense, because their defense has gotten healthier, it's playing relatively well. They're winning this division, and it won't even be close. But if you keep putting your defense in a bad situation, you keep turning it over, and as Peterson said in his Monday press conference, you're losing opportunities. You're only going to get 8 or 9 series. Like, if you keep turning it over, you're going to have fewer series and fewer series and fewer series, less of time of possession.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to pressure on and start throwing, and that's when he's going to start pressing. So you don't want to put it all on the quarterback, but he is not coached to play like this. Like, the quarterback position, when you're a high-level talent like Wentz, but he's certainly not playing like a high-level player, the talent level is unquestioned. The play is majorly questioned. That's the difference, because people are starting to say he's not talented. That's wrong.
Right.
He's enormously talented, but he's playing like a guy – he's playing below average football. I've never said that before about him, but that's the way he's playing. It's the tape shows you. That's what people think who know a lot more about football than I do. They're telling me this. They think he's playing below the 16 – they're basically the 32 starting quarterbacks. He's playing in a lower half right now, Geoff. That's what he is right now. That's the numbers, the way he's playing.
Yeah, the numbers speak for himself. He has the lowest completion percentage of his career, 58.4. Even as a rookie, he was at 62.4. He has 12 interceptions. He threw 14 as a rookie, and it was considered problematic when he was a rookie, and he's only 2 away from that with 8 games to go.
Right, 7 and 18, 7 and 19. 16 total turnovers, 32 if you obviously max it out at 16 games. That's unconscionable. How could this happen?
I don't know. And the amazing thing is they have 3 wins, and all 3 are fourth-quarter comebacks. So go figure, right? He's got already has a career most fourth-quarter comebacks. But as we say, Adam, some of these games you win. If you play smarter, they don't have to come from behind victories.
Now I want to add something to that.
Yeah.
Let's say Sanders comes back after the bye. So someone said this to me who's pretty sharp, said, okay, I'm not going to say who it is. This guy played the quarterback position before. Someone I know from another team who I really respect. We didn't talk since the combine. We're catching up because his team is playing the Eagles, I think December. But anyway, this guy said to me, he goes, you got to understand. He goes, I know from playing the position. He's like, you give him back Miles Sanders. Not that Jeffrey's going to play very much behind Fulgham, but it's another pass target.
Mm-hmm.
Rager's back, just played. Goddard's back, he just played. He'll be more of a pass catcher going forward. They're going to get some offensive linemen back in the second half. You start feeling better about yourself. Maybe you don't have to press as much, because this guy said you got to understand this position. Sometimes we think we have to do more than we're supposed to, because we want to win the game, and we feel like, hey, I'm a starting quarterback in the National Football League. I can do this. Rather than say, hey, you know what, my coaches are telling me this is the throw and I need to make it, and we'll win that play.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's not understanding. Trust your coaches by design. and your receivers getting relatively open, even if not throw them open. When he threw Fulgham open, by the way, in that Pittsburgh game, that's high-level quarterback play. This is what happens when you press. You think you have to be the man. He doesn't have to be the man. Just process correctly, run the play like it's supposed to, and you'll be really pretty. Actually, he'll be pretty good because he could do everything else.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up the coaches part because I think we should transition into that part.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to like put this without getting people in. You know how sometimes bloggers run with what you say, what you report, Adam. But I'm going to say this the best I can. All right, okay. So that it's just when I talk to some people, just like you with the team, about the offense, right? And I try to ask the same questions that our listeners ask about what's wrong with this offense. Why is Carson playing this way? Why is it just even when Carson's playing well, it's a struggle? And you know, it's always kind of said to me, I don't want to say in a sarcastic way, but just in a way in which the people want to point it out for a reason. And they'll say, well, you know, how many different people are actually involved with this offense, right? And so that goes back to what we've talked about since the beginning, since the offseason really, is that this offensive staff had a lot of people brought into it, and they were supposed to bring different ideas, right? Whether it was Marty and his West Coast, or Andrew Briner and his spread, or Rich Scangarello and his Shanahan style of misdirection and play action. And I think we said this many times. These are all independently very good things, right? You want experienced guys who have ideas. That's what Doug likes. That's what the organization likes. But at the same time, you do wonder naturally, how many people can be involved in one offensive game plan, especially if they're not all the same type of guy? And so, again, when people say that to me, I don't think they're saying that's the problem right there, but they're bringing this up as, I don't want to say even the elephant in the room, as something that exists. You know, like there are a lot of people who were brought in to do something with this offense, and it's got to be difficult to satisfy everybody.
There are a lot of what Peterson likes. They're called idea guys. There's no question that's part of this, but that's what Peterson wanted. The only concern you get is if in Monday morning, if it's not Press Taylor as the main guy in his ear, that's a problem. It should only be Press Taylor for majority of the time. You don't want 3 or 4 people in Wentz's ear. That's just not the way it works in the National Football League. I'm not saying it is here, but just to give you an idea, in 16 and 17, it was exclusively in meetings, DeFilippo, with Reich as Reich was really the guy who would help Carson from a maturity standpoint to go through of what it's like to be an NFL player, because we know that Frank was one of the best backup quarterbacks of all time, be that big brother for him. But in terms of day-to-day, it was DeFilippo. It's like this in every building, by the way. Now, you mentioned all these new coaches. You hope that they're only supposed to be there for game planning, by the way. They're not supposed to be – of course, they're going to interact with Wentz, but they're not supposed to be there as the guy who's coaching him day-to-day.
Right.
If they are, that's a problem, because that's when guys tell you that from other teams, they'll say, hey, we can't have a lot of guys in your ear, this guy's ear. You can't do that. You don't want 4 guys in the ear. You don't want 3. You want 1 guy on Monday morning. That's Press Taylor. Now that guy's got to be hard on Carson, because Monday is the truth day. Mm-hmm. Why did you do that? We didn't teach you that. Why did you do that? You better have the right answer. And if he does, but then he does it again the next week, you go, hey, we went over this last week. Why did you do this again? This is what we've been saying for weeks. A lot of the same errors. Pressing when it's not there. Like Carson, when he's at his best, will make throws where if you're only watching off TV, you go, wow, I'm surprised he would make that throw. Well, he did, because he thought he can do it, and he was right. He threw with anticipation. Like the bomb to Fulgham against San Francisco, that is a high-level NFL throw. Like at first you go, wait a minute, he shouldn't have made that throw. No, he thought he can win.
Yeah.
And he won because he said, I'm trusting what we did in practice that you will go and get it. That's fine. That's a great throw. It's a great idea. But when it's covered, when it's clearly covered, don't throw it.
I'm with you. And when you're rolling out of the pocket and the defense is converging on you, just throw the ball.
Get rid of it. Right. As you just said earlier, this is a problem with him, and they got to shake him out of it. And I question whether Press Taylor is that guy. I'm not there. You're not there. None of our listeners are in the room with him. And maybe Peterson's in there as well. I'm sure he is in some of the meetings, at least. But they're not getting through to him. How do we know that? Because he keeps doing it.
That's
you
correct.
can't tell me that they're saying it and he's just ignoring them.
So that brings us to part 3 of the big question that we're constantly asked. And before, I just want to repeat that when I've talked to people around the team about this, no one has said to me, Geoff, there's just too many chefs. But they've pointed out to me there's a lot of chefs and let me draw my own conclusion.
What are they doing, though? But what are they doing?
Right. And that is where it's been left to be more interpretive than to actually know for a fact that something's wrong going on there. So I don't want to say that.
Sure.
So what do they do? And that's the other question. And look, I don't think anybody you and I are speak to is going to reveal any plans about benching Carson Wentz. I don't think that.
There's been no talk of it. I've checked into it. There's been zero talk of it, and there shouldn't be. Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
This is I think a good way to frame it. Are they at A, crisis? B, should you be concerned, which is less, obviously. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or C, growing pains, a lot of new coaches, odd year, no off season. I'm in the middle. I'm concerned. What are you?
Concerned.
How so?
What were the 3 options again? Concerned, crisis,
We're gonna go. Well, obviously, the least is not concerned, or crisis.
Concerned.
And how so?
Yeah, I'm concerned because, first of all, I don't feel like it's a crisis, and some of that isn't really even Carson Wentz related because they're 3-4-1. They're in first place. So with all these mistakes that Carson has made, and everybody else too, they're in first place. That might not satisfy a lot of people. Winning the division and getting bounced easily is certainly not going to be satisfactory, but the story of this season is yet to be told. That's why there's too much time left, and we saw it last year in December. Things can change on a dime. I'm not saying they are. I'm saying they can, so we have to see.
You know what's interesting? You just said about the story isn't written, and we know what happened in December. Those shows we did leading up to December, you actually took my quote where I said, trust the pass targets. He wasn't trusting it. He wouldn't throw. Remember, he was holding on to the ball too long.
Yes.
And wouldn't let it loose. Now he's letting it loose when sometimes he shouldn't because it's not there for him. Where there might be here's another part we should add to this. There are plenty of throws in each game where you go, okay, the ball should go here, and it's going somewhere else. That's one of the issues. He's not getting it to the guys when he should get it to them. There's no way to put a percentage on it, but there are too many throws in each game where he doesn't go to the right guy, where he doesn't take the intermediate throw when that would have been a first down.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the kind of things, like when he's right, man, he processes so well and he sees it so well that he looks like a top 5 quarterback from a talent standpoint. He always has been, but he didn't play like he's playing again. He's not playing the way that we think he should play, and all of our listeners know that he should be playing like.
One of my biggest concerns is something we've talked about a lot about mechanics and everything. And I noticed again watching tape of this game against the Cowboys that there were probably 4 or 5 passes that were high. 2 of them were caught because I think somebody jumped up to catch one of them. Greg Ward could have had one. It was a drop that he should have had, but he still had to reach really high to get it. Zach Ertz was getting thrown high for quite a while until he wound up getting hurt.
Right.
And what you see, and Greg Cosell has talked about this, on the high throws, it's very clear and detectable that, he's very jumpy in the pocket. Happy feet sometimes is the term. And
what he does is he locks his left leg, and it causes the ball to move.
During the throw, right?
Yes, it's a real problem. He locks his front leg. Someone told me this, and Cosell confirmed it for us. He saw the same thing.
But he's also skittish in the pocket, Adam. If you notice, he kind of – and that might be a byproduct of taking a lot of hits, right?
The line, yes. Oh, God.
I think the same things that keep him on his toes and moving and help him get away, do the duck and under, and have enable him to make those athletic moves to get away from traffic. The times when there's not pressure and he's in the pocket and he's just looking for somebody to throw, you see he's frenetic about it. He is not calm while he goes through the progressions. And that part, I think, causes him to then get tight, lock that foot, and make the throw when he makes the throw. And this is something that they just clearly have not been able to coach out of him. And the more that goes on, and I think he was doing it last year in December too. He just was able to curtail the interceptions.
Well,
A lot of his high passes are caught.
The thing that he did last year is he started trusting, and he processed well and made them go get it. He made the big line that I got from someone is he's made these guys better than they are. That's high level quarterback play. Like he played really well in the final 4 games. When you're playing with Robert Green, whatever the Green guy, what's his name? Robert Green, whatever his name is, Green.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah. All those Burnett and all those.
It was Robert Davis, right?
Marcus
Davis,
Green and
Robert Davis. Yeah.
Robert Davis, formerly the Washington, and these guys who shouldn't be playing. And obviously, he and Ward really got it together. That's high level quarterback play. That's what he should be doing. Because you expect that out of him because he's so gifted. Mm-hmm. But he hurts himself when he doesn't trust the way he's coached. You can't freelance mechanics, which is I'll admit I got that from somebody else who I really talked to a lot from another team, just about the position. And as I learned more about the position and talked to people, I thought that was one of the better lines I got. He's a freelancer with his mechanics,
right?
And also, by the way, also with his decision making, which is not something we were used to early on in his career, but goes into what we're saying. He's not processing and he's not seeing the field as well as he used to. You and I have talked about that. Ron Jaworski talked to me about that on the show, that he's not seeing the field great, consistently well. And this is not something we're used to with him. Had never been a problem until this season. And I do believe coaching has something to do with it. I think they have to reach him. I think that is the problem, Geoff. They're not reaching him.
All right. So as we kind of transition away from Carson and the quarterback position, the only one I think that's worth talking about more is Jalen Hurts and what they do. I mean, you have suggested that maybe you play him a series. I think it's a good idea. I'm not against it. I would especially be in favor of it if Carson comes out of the bye and has 2 first quarter interceptions or an interception and a fumble in the first half, and they're struggling against the Giants and they don't look like 2 weeks did them any good from soul searching. But I know you would just do it just to help uplift the offense anyway. Whether
and it's funny. I'm dumb. I should have thought of it that way. Like maybe it's a little bit of a sign to Wentz, and you could look at it that way. I could certainly understand that. I wouldn't have a problem with it. And it probably should be taken that way if I'm Wentz. Why are you taking me out for a series? Like, I wouldn't want that. I remember Jaws telling me for years he hated it when they had the 3rd down package in 1986 with Randall. He said it really bothered him. And this is when Buddy Ryan, who had no clue about offense, he'd just go Randall, make a play. There's no structure. It was just it was exciting because with Randall was so wild, you didn't know what you were going to get from him, but he was so gifted. But here, you have structure. Hurts has got a good arm. We know about the athleticism. That's never been in question. I want to see him do more than this gimmick. I want to see we called it right after the draft. We know what was coming. It's been exactly what we thought, like to the T. But he could do more than that. Come on.
Yes, and Doug Peterson and the offensive play callers, Press Taylor, they can do more with Jalen Hurts, even if he wants to leave Carson Wentz on the field. They can just do a little more.
Yeah. Look, it wasn't just you and I. Everyone knew what was coming. It's not a secret. I mean, Hurts is a very interesting player. Zone read, RPO, whatever you want to do with him, he can do it. That was what the word around the league was with him, is he was going to be a guy that you would run a lot of those concepts that he had in college. And that's why I thought that would happen. That's the way he used them initially. And as he grows as a quarterback, if it's going to be here for the full 4 years, I want to see the guy throw the football. I don't want to. I understand to get him comfortable early on, just give him some stuff that you know what he can do. That's fine, but I'd like to see the guy throw it. The guy could spin it, man. I was at training camp for like 3 or 4 days watching him. I'm like, he's got a live arm. When you go to practice, Geoff, you've been to about 1,000 of them. When you go to practice, it's such a different speed than watching on TV. And I was pretty impressed. I know he's got a ways to go. I get that. But I want to see more from him.
Real quick, are you surprised that the Eagles did not try to match the offer the Texans gave for Josh McCown? And then just release Nate Sudfeld to save the money there?
Boy. Well, Nate's
I guess that would have required –
You're not saving anything. Nate's $2 million is fully guaranteed.
Oh, you know what? That's – you're right.
Yeah, they owe him the money whether he's on the roster or not. But
that's true.
That situation was interesting because – they did something I've never heard before. They let a guy be on the practice squad from home. and be in all their meetings. He'll never practice with them unless if someone got hurt, he would come in.
Right.
That was the contingency. Look, if he had to come in, if somebody got hurt, he would have done it. But now he does live in Texas, and okay, so he goes to he goes to this team and the Texans, and he's on the 53-man roster. I thought it was a little bit different, and the Eagles love him, by the way. They pretty certain he would have been an assistant coach for them this year if he wanted to be. Now I'm going back to February, of course. I'm not not in the spring or the summer, but
right.
They love the guy. They wanted him. He's if you know Josh, he's an incredible guy. He's a really great guy, and another thing about him, he's a really good evaluator. I've just getting to know him over the years. Really accurate when I'd ask him about players he's played with, and he's really honest. And I was kind of blown away, but I was like, dude, I think you need to be a scout. He's maybe a coach. Well,
maybe he will be.
Coaches high school, but he's got a great eye for personnel.
Wow, that's awesome. But he is no longer with the Eagles. He's now part of the Houston Texans, and we'll see if the Eagles do anything at the quarterback position. I would doubt that they will.
No, they got their 3. I mean, they didn't really need to do anything. They got their 3.
Right. All right, so let's go on to running backs. Let's talk about Miles Sanders, because it's kind of unfortunate that he missed week 1 with the hammy, and now he's missed the last 2 games. So he's only played 5 games. But if you're to evaluate his numbers on those 5 games, you'd have to be fairly impressed. I mean, I think he's had 3 of those 5 games he's totaled over 100 total yards. So he's done fairly well. And then one of them he was at like 99. So
and obviously the 3 long runs, and the thing, it's a shame that we didn't get to see, and we're going to see this because I don't know why Sanders wouldn't be back after the bye. He's supposed to be. Last I had heard that was the plan. So assuming he's ready for week 10 against the Giants, getting him and Rager on the field at the same time, man. I'm looking forward to this, man. Because remember, he didn't play in week 1. Remember?
Right.
And Jalen got hurt against Cincinnati in week 3?
3. 3.
3 or the Rams game? I don't remember now.
No, you know what? He got hurt in week 2, actually.
Yeah, against the Rams, right. So Geoff, they have not really played together. You put their speed on there, and then Hightower's a changeup off the bench. And
it's the story of the season, Adam, trying to get all these guys on the
healthy at the same time. As you set this up, I'm thinking about this. I'm like, wow, if I'm those coaches, because that's been part of it. As critical as we've been about the play calling, and I know the fans have been up in arms. They're out of their minds over it. They went after Peterson hard on social media on Sunday night. But when the hell did they play? Yeah, Sunday night. During and after the game, though they won. But I get it. They want to see – although, by the way, that game was the most eye candy they've used by far. They did a bunch of stuff pre-snap, particularly in the first half. But just think, if you get all this speed on the field, folks, part of the show is what is it going to look like going forward, because that's what you really want to know. Can you imagine if Sanders lines up in the slot? By the way, I saw it in training camp, okay? Okay?
We've seen him line up a receiver in the few games that he's played so far.
We saw it last year.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. On that H-seam pass it's called H-seam, they ran against the Vikings. You put Rager on there on a ghost motion or that reverse orbit motion like they just did in the last game. Okay? Hightower on the field. How are you going to defend that?
I don't know. I think the coaches have been wondering that for a while. They just want to get both of the guys on.
Sorry, I forgot about him.
Yeah, that too, right? So, no, I mean, theoretically, coming out of this bye week, if everybody's healthy, they should be pretty darn good offensively, and that's kind of what we thought that they were going to be able to do going into the season. Remember, I mean, when we talked about this team in the offseason and going into the year, we thought the offense was going to be a lot more dynamic than last year, but the defense we questioned, which we were right to do. The defense has not been good this year. I mean, the games they play well, and I'm sorry, Dallas and New York. I'm not like
I understand, but they're getting healthier, and you're starting to see their D-line dominate. But yeah, it has not been as good. True. The defense has not been as good as I thought. That'll be the next show. But offensively, though, the upside of this offense, Geoff, if Wentz could get himself together. Now, the other thing is we haven't talked about is their offensive line. That we'll get to that in a minute. But the upside of this offense is by far, in terms of explosiveness, was their offense phenomenal in 17? Yes, it was. The coaching was awesome. Wentz was off the hook great. Best quarterback play we've ever seen here in Philadelphia, other than maybe Norm Van Brocklin. Sorry, Jaws, you were great in 80, but no, Wentz was better in 17. But I'll tell you, in terms of explosiveness, Peterson's not having like this, but they got to stay on the field.
Yeah, one thing on the running backs as we, finish up on them, because really it's about Miles. By the way, Miles Sanders has 525 total yards in 5 games, so he's on pace for about 1,700 yards, and he already has 3 touchdowns, so 9 or 10 touchdowns there. So he's on pace to have the year that you and I predicted he was going to have in the offseason.
And Geoff, if you put speed on the outside, that's what I meant to say. I could have said it better. But if you put Hightower, Rager, Fulgham, Goddard, who's a terrific tight end who could do everything. And by the way, Greg Cosell's told me for 3 years now he runs better than Ertz. You put him as your slot tight end, they're going to do it because we all know it that this could be dynamic. That's going to make Wentz better in terms of feeling more confident, and that's going to make Miles Sanders better because you're not going to be able to load up the box.
Right. What they need to do, though, is figure out a way when Miles Sanders is healthy to get Boston Scott warmed up so that he's productive in the limited reps that he's going to get. I got no issue with the number of touches Boston Scott had when Miles Sanders was healthy, but clearly they had a difficult time getting maximum production out of those limited snaps for whatever reason. Maybe he's a volume runner and he just needs a lot of I don't know what, but he's got to be – they have to game plan for him, the screen game, the short game, whatever. The change-up type game, it wasn't working when Miles Sanders was healtty. We had too many pods. Now, we were talking about that. Yeah, but it's only better because one's been off the field.
No, but what I'm saying, Scott got a chance. He got his, whatever you have, 15 carries, whatever the hell it was against Dallas. Yeah. I get it's Dallas and they're not good, but you saw the traits. Let me add to what you said about Boston Scott before we move to receiver. He runs good wheel routes. You saw the touchdown that he had to the game winner against the Giants. This guy can do that, okay? I don't know why he didn't look better earlier in the season. I apologize if I was rocking back. You didn't, I'm assuming this is being all picked up on my mic.
Sometimes I can't. I can barely hear you. I mean, I can't hear any problems. Go ahead.
Okay, good. Thank you. But that's another one. I mean, you can line up Scott in the slide. There's so much you can do if they all could stay in the damn field health wise. This thing could look pretty special in the second half. I'm really intrigued with this because it's funny. It took the midseason show to talk about what this thing could look like. Isn't it funny?
Yeah, it really is. It's funny. And I'll say what I've said all year long, and people are going to be like, just shut up, Geoff, already. It's great to envision all of this speed and dynamic playmaking ability on the field, but Zach Ertz still isn't going to be back yet. We'll see, right?
Week 11 is the earliest he can return, and I was told he's got this very similar injury to high ankle that Christian McCaffrey had, deltoid, whatever the hell that is. I have to look it up. But
gotcha.
Anyway, very similar. So yeah, I'm sorry.
The back shoulder area, the deltoid, I believe.
No, but the correct no, he has a high ankle. It's the correct,
yeah, he's a high. You said a deltoid?
Yeah, I didn't mean deltoid, but
upper back.
No, it's Ertz has some sort of sprain on his ankle, high ankle. It's not deltoid. It's something else. I can't remember what it's called. It screams with a D. I got to look it up. But anyway, so if he comes back week 11 or week 12, Geoff, how do you see this tight end position going?
It should be going great if you have Ertz and Goddard back. I mean, then you can be all sorts of different personnel. You can be 12, you can be 11, you can be 10. You can do it all in the same game. You can give a guy breaks so he doesn't get hurt the way things have been going. So, I mean, they'll have options aplenty. But
they don't have to play 12 as much, right?
Yeah. I'll believe it when I see it, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we don't even know if Miles Sanders is going to be ready to practice next week. I hope he is. But
there's a way that they could make this work. They could be multiple, okay? For the first time since Goddard was drafted in 18, if they're all healthy, even if Jeffrey plays as the backup X, they have so much diversification and potential with this offense. There should be no reason why they're all 12 or majority of 12. There's no reason for it.
No, shouldn't be. The only thing multiple about the Eagles' offense so far are the hamstring pulls. That's about it. All right. All right, let's move on. I know, but all right. Listen, the season is in full swing. The action is still unfolding. So head on over to DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app with so many storylines across both professional and collegiate sports. This is the time to check out all that DraftKings Sportsbook has to offer. If you haven't tried the app yet, head to the App Store now because you don't want to miss this. To celebrate Sunday's action, DraftKings is ensuring all new users are covered up to $100. That's right. You bet, they cover with risk-free Sunday betting. Now, this weekend, there's plenty of action to get in on, so head on over to the app now to start making it rain. A lot of interesting games. We got an NFC East game there between the Giants and Washington, I believe, Adam, right?
Yes, that's actually a rematch, right? That's, believe it or not, hey, the division's up for grabs.
Yeah, I mean, these are two teams that fight hard. I mean, they're on good records, but they definitely have been fighting hard lately.
Eagles are in first, but these two teams they could be pushing for second place, and who knows? There's a second half. Who the heck knows?
That's right. Division? That's right. So there's plenty of action to get in on. And on top of those great sign-up offers, DraftKings offers great odds boosts every Sunday to help you make it rain. DraftKings is safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit, withdraw your money at your convenience. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code ITB when you sign up to get this can't-miss offer. DraftKings Sportsbook is insuring your Sunday bets up to $100. That's right. When you bet and they cover up to $100 when you use your promo code ITB during sign-up for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only, in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Risk-free coverage paid out in site credits. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's talk a little offensive line, a little trench talk, as we like to call it on our Sunday pregame show when we got Trey Thomas around. A lot to talk about because there have been so many different guys. They've played 8 games. I believe they've had 7 different offensive lines out, and that is not exactly something to be proud of or happy about.
Yeah. So right now, okay, as we get ready for week number 10 against the Giants for the Eagles. So Peters is at left tackle. I could tell you, a team source said to me, he was so good in training camp. I mean, we could argue because it was only training camp. There's no preseason. We don't get access to the practice tape. But one person said to me, looked like a Pro Bowler at right guard.
He also missed 2 weeks, so it must have been a quick recovery for him.
But once he got it, he looked like this. He was, and Todd Herman's, I think, was right. He would have fit in really well at right guard. And quite frankly, if this is just me speaking, but if Lane Johnson could get healthy, we'll find out more about how he is after the bye. With that knee, man, that was kind of weird how it flared up on him. It was a grade 1 MCL. That shouldn't be happening, but who knows? But if he's ready for week 10 or week whatever it is, hopefully it's week 10. Peters is at left tackle, obviously. Kelsey's at center. And then you ask yourself, do you stick with Nate Herbig? I would say yes. Whether it's at left guard or right guard, Pryor at guard, okay. And then, you know what? You go forward with that. Now, here's the other question. If Peters gets hurt again and Lane Johnson's healthy, I think you just go with Mailata and say, you know what, Jason, here's what we're going to do. When you come back, you're going to be our right guard. We're going to move Nate to left. That's what I would do. What do you say?
Well, my tendency at first was to agree with something Trey Thomas felt and expressed on our show, which was to play Mailata at left tackle, Lane Johnson at right tackle, Peters at left guard, Herbig at right guard, and Jason Kelsey at center. Even though Jason didn't practice at left guard, he's a natural on the left side, so it shouldn't be that difficult of a transition. My only problem with that is that Peters is probably going to be leaving a game at some point. He may get hurt. I mean, I think you have to budget in your mind that that's going to happen. And then who do you want playing left guard when Jason Peters inevitably comes out? Then you have to stick Matt Pryor in there.
Well, Herbig's playing left tackle.
Well, then you have to move. See, I'm trying to figure out a way to do this with as little movement as possible.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I think you want to keep Jordan Mailata at offensive tackle, of course. You want to keep your guards kind of playing the positions that they've been playing. So it probably makes sense. I hate saying it because I was totally against it earlier, but Peters left tackle, Blaine right tackle. You keep your guards as Matt Pryor at right guard, Nate at left guard, and then Kelsey as center. I know that keeps Mailata off the field, but it limits your movement in case other people get hurt.
Here's the thing with Mailata, okay? They've now learned he's not a guard. Okay, he's never going to be a guard. They're not going to play him at guard. That's been their plan. He's a tackle. They know that. They talked about it internally, I'm told, but they just know he's not. He's too long. They know how athletic he is, and he's you can't find guys 6'8" like this. Is just it's credible,
right?
The talent level. So what they found is this with him. At the very least, he's in the running for the left tackle job next year versus
Andre Dillard.
Andre Dillard, thank you. Yeah. So they know that. They now know because he's started at right tackle. He's put good tape out there. If they need him to fill in for Lane Johnson, if Johnson's not healthy at some point this season, he's got 2 injuries he's nursing, so who knows. But if he has to play right tackle, he can do it. He's done it, and they can win with him. Like, this has been a great find for them. That one of the better things that's happened this season is they've, through dumb luck, Fulgham, good drafting, smart drafting with Mailata, and not cutting him when they could have cut him. They didn't know anything about him. He kept having back issues. They stuck with him. And eureka, they have someone who's going to be part of the solution. This kid is an amazing find. He's not perfect. He's got some issues with his hand usage. Because the thing is, and Trey Thomas has told us this many times, the way that the offensive linemen are taught is not the most natural way, because you're kind of letting the guy get into you before you strike him. You have your hands are lower. They're supposed to be higher, but they're a little bit lower, and then it's just a different way to teach it. But look, Stalin's been successful with it, so it is what it is. Mm-hmm. But Jordan's new to football, so you got to keep giving him time. But this has been a great find for them. Mm-hmm. So he's your 6th lineman he's your backup left and right tackle. That's been solved. You got that going for this season.
Here's one thing though, back with Peters.
Okay.
And it was pretty evident just watching the Dallas tape. I mean, there's some things he still does really well. There are some things he doesn't. We talk about his balance and staying on his feet, but he on zone runs, which they do a lot, specifically outside zone, right? I mean, he just comes across on these reach blocks and just he can take a 3 technique and just keep pushing them. He's just
They showed that on NBC. Yeah, I saw that play. Yeah.
Many times he just seals up that backside, which gives the running back a great cutback lane if he wants. If he doesn't go the way the zone goes and wants to cut it up the middle, I mean, if the play is going to the opposite side of Peters, it's there, and he mauls these guys. So maybe to your point, he could do that if you put him at guard. He would do the same
put him
with his combo blocks and then up to the linebacker. But then but Mailata doesn't do it as well, and I know he's got to develop it and hone it.
New to that, right.
But you're trying to win games here, and and when Miles Sanders, it's all you need is a little bit with Miles, right?
Know, like God, that touchdown run against Pittsburgh, you just nailed it. He had to beat one guy, and off he went. I mean, that's how special he is.
And these guys have not played together except for one game, right? Because Peters got hurt week 3, Miles missed week 1. Because Peters got hurt against Cincinnati. So they really only played together week 2 against who was that week 2? LA, and that was a mess of a game that they were down early, so they didn't get to run much. But then Peters got hurt, and then Peters came back, and Miles got hurt. So they have not been on the field together, and I'm just telling you, I think there's a real big play home run potential with those 2 guys on the lineup, but I think it involves Peters having to be at left tackle and not at guard.
One thing is, though, for next year, the competition, because people want to know, and we were just talking about it, but I just want to expand a little bit. They've got to have an open competition for left tackle. I've seen enough at Mailata. What he showed me against Baltimore, and particularly Pittsburgh, it's over to me. Yeah. He goes in and competes against Dillard for the left tackle job. There's no reason why that shouldn't happen. They cannot hand him that job, Dillard. Dillard got hurt. They were pressed to play Mailata because of injuries, and this is what this is all they could hope for, that he be this talented. They knew there was something there because they're with him, every week. But they wouldn't. You don't know until you get there. He had to play. Sure, he's had he's taken his lumps. He's had some plays he'd like to have back. But you see, all the good stuff is high level, like real high level, and that's what they want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's going to be like at least a dozen podcasts for us between April and July and August of next year.
Oh,
talking
please,
about that left tackle
we
spot.
need. I cannot tell you how much you and I missed having May, June in OTAs and not.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring that up because once we're going to assume we're going to have it. We're going to have a vaccine. We're going to have this. Once you get Mailata and Dillard there, Dillard needed the offseason too, and John Hightower to get bigger physically, and Rager to have all those offseason reps, and Carson to have the offseason time with these guys. Just think about how much better they're going to be.
I agree. It's going to be fun to watch. All right. Let's talk a little bit about guard play in general. Herbig and
another guy.
Pryor. Herbig they're surviving with. I mean, I don't think we need to kid ourselves into the idea that he's a long-term starter.
No,
but you know, is he basically giving you the level of production that Wisniewski gave you when he had to step in at left guard for Seumalo? Yeah, pretty much. He has some bad plays sometimes, and he has some pretty decent plays sometimes. I mean, he's not hurting you all the time. Although, in fairness, when they do play the better teams, there are some times they'll struggle. But
yeah, he's very limited athletically, very limited. But he's a power guy. He needs to get in better physical shape, is the word. But he's a big guy, and you kind of know who he is and what he is. But the great thing about him playing is now you know that he could go in and start for you for a specific amount of time. That's the thing about, now I don't want to say beauty of it because nobody wants anyone to get hurt, but all these guys were pressed into servers. Hightower, okay? Greg Ward has taken a big step up. Nate Herbig. Matt Pryor, we know he struggled in training camp. He's now showing he's got some value at guard. We showed it last year. Suapeta had to play in there, okay? We just
Jamal Brown.
Jamal Eve, but okay, Suapeta had to start one game. Jack Driscoll did a good. We haven't talked about him because he's been hurt. He did well before he got hurt. So
he did.
Brett Toth, for goodness sake, that's another guy. But you know what? He's got length. He needs it off season. So you take a major negative, all these injuries, and you go say, you know what? We now have tape. We now we know how to coach these guys better because we now know what they are. Now they've got tape together.
Right. And by the way, on Jack Driscoll, who, we were on him from the start. We knew that he was someone that Jeff Stoutland liked. I couldn't tell you he was going to be the starter against Washington because I didn't know Lane Johnson was going to miss that game. But I can see him in the offseason getting stronger like most young players are supposed to do.
Oh, he's a guy who has to, yes. For sure.
And eventually maybe playing guard because he's got the athleticism to be really good on those pulls and sweeps. And obviously, if you want to play him, if you think he can be a starter, but you've got your bookend offensive tackles, with Lane and Mailata or Lane and Dillard or whatever, and you want to find a spot for him, maybe there's a spot for him. I don't know. Jason Kelsey, maybe he retires after this year and you move Seumalo to center and left guard becomes an open spot. We'll just have to see. Kelsey's played well this year. I mean, there are some times he struggles against the bigger, beefier teams. We saw that against Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
Actually, I was told he played pretty well against Baltimore. The only guy was Brown. But, yeah, you're right, though.
He messed up something out of the goal line. One of those whether it was a 2-point conversion.
But overall, he wasn't bad.
Overall, he's good, yeah.
But there was a game, I don't know which game it was, where he didn't play particularly well. But, yeah, he still got it, man. I'm sorry?
Could it have been Cincinnati?
Might have been.
Some reason,
Might have been. Yeah. Well, Peters got handled. The only good game Carlos Dunlap played this year, I'm told, was against Philly. He got Peters badly in that game. He got him. So, look, they've discovered a lot. They didn't want to, but they had to because of injury, and they had to shuffle the line. And there's been some positives here. It's not been all negative at the offensive line. They actually have learned a lot.
Right. All right, we're going to get into wide receivers in just a second. Now, autumn's in the air. Everybody knows this, and Manscaped's here to ensure that you don't carve your pumpkins when you're grooming. And by pumpkins, I think you guys all know what we mean. In fact, Manscaped's on a mission to change the way you approach caring for your balls. And great news, they've just released their products in the UK, Canada, and Australia. So for everybody who listens to ITB overseas, Manscaped may be coming to you. All right, and you can't forget they've got the best trimmer for your butt, balls, and body available, and that's the Lawnmower 3.0 with the replaceable ceramic blade and the advanced skin-safe technology, which helps reduce your grooming accidents. We can't have those. They've got the new Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer using the same skin-safe technology that you're using when you're trimming those delicate nose hairs of yours, all right? We've got the crop care kit with the crop preserver ball deodorant. Everyone knows pumpkin spice lattes and ball deodorant go hand in hand. And we've got the crop cleanser body wash, a full body wash that you can use on your hair, the crop mop ball wipes, because you never know when an opportunity is going to strike. So you got to be prepared, and you don't want to stink when you're sitting around that Thanksgiving table for dinner. Okay. So if you suffer from stanky foot and you're standing all around all day, they also have a great product for you. Let me tell you about the Foot Duster foot deodorant. The cooling tea tree oil offers a pleasant experience for the stankiest of feet and allows you to take your shoes off in confidence. Everybody loves to go, and I don't know about this year with COVID, but if you can maybe have a small gathering with your family and watch it, you're going to sit down and take your shoes off. You don't want to be stinking up the joint. So that's why the Foot Duster is the product for you. And of course, the refined cologne, Manscaped Refined Cologne, is a cost-effective way to smell clean and fresh for your date. All right. The crop cleanser hair and body wash was also designed with aloe vera and sea salt to leave your skin fresh, moisturized, and reinvigorated. All this stuff is vegan, cruelty-free, dye-free, sulfate-free, paraben-free. And so you know your manhood's in good hands. So make sure you get the 20% off and get the free shipping at manscaped.com using that promo code ITB. 20% off, free shipping. Can't find it anywhere else. Go to manscaped.com. Code ITB, and make your balls a priority this fall. All right. Now we will talk about wide receivers and tight ends.
Bring the balls.
We're going from balls to wide receivers to tight ends, and this is going to get X-rated pretty quickly here if it hasn't already. All right, look, man, the story of the season. I think he's the brightest spot of the season. Oh. Maybe the only reason to watch the rest of the season, the way things are going, is Travis Fulgham.
Oh.
He's so impressive. He's real. It's kind of cool. I really do think that if not for Travis Fulgham, where would they be? No, honestly, they don't win that San Francisco game. I mean,
they're not winning. They would not be in San Francisco because he had the touchdown. He also had another huge first down. Pittsburgh, he took the game over 150 yards.
Right.
Dallas, he's got the touchdown. Yeah, they're not winning one.
He's scored the touchdown against Dallas, right? Exactly.
I don't know how you explain this, man. It's never seen anything like this for as many years I've covered the NFL for any team. I know there have been some amazing stories, guys coming out of nowhere, but this is a guy. I mean, okay, you claim off waivers, maybe it'll be your fourth or fifth receiver. Hey, maybe he gets a couple catches a game. This guy is what, since week 4, he's got the most receiving yards.
Most receiving yards in the NFL. Yep, I think most receiving touchdowns as well.
He scored in 4 out of his 5 games or something. So
yeah.
He got humbled. The Lions, from what I heard, look, they did like the kid, but it wasn't working. The word was he needed to change his scenery. Good kid, by the way. He just needed to get out of his own way. He just wasn't performing, and he got cut a bunch of times at Detroit. Then Green Bay wasn't there long enough. They should have taken a longer look with him. But they didn't, and now he will be the Eagles' starting X receiver for many years to come. He's got one more year left on his deal. He's signed through 21, so they don't need to do anything. He'll be exclusive rights after 21.
They can't give him an extension, correct?
No, not now, year? But they can. They after 21, they can if they want. They actually tried to sign Cameron Johnson to an extension when he was exclusive rights, but they weren't able to reach an agreement to do it. But He is so okay, let's go through this. So for the rest of the season, it'll be Fulgham and X. I am told that they still believe Jeffrey will be ready for the Giant game, barring a setback, and you know how that goes.
Uh-huh.
But if he's available, he'll back up Fulgham, maybe give him 15 plus plays a game. I have no idea what he'll be able to do against the Giants. I don't know how many plays, if he does dress, I don't know how many plays he can have. Rager's already at the Z. Boy, did he play a lot in his first game back. I'm told his condition was really good. He's got to catch the ball right, though. He's got to tack it and hold in correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But he looked good. So there you go. Hightower will back him up. Arcega-Whiteside's really not in the rotation. He's really only in special teams now. And Quez Watkins doesn't need to play. They don't need him to play. Greg Ward's your main slot. Rager will see some time in the slot, I'm sure. Hightower can. You could run him on a 9 route from there.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I mean, I think
Whiteside played played 5 snaps against the Cowboys. And I was watching the tape, and there was one
I didn't
point,
even know that. They're on offense. I always saw them on specials. Yeah.
There's one point because I almost forgot his number ananymore. I'm like, who is this guy
19, right?
putting a block downfield? It was 19. That's the only thing he does well is block downfield.
Right.
So, yeah, he's not part of the plan. I want to go back to Fulgham because I think what makes it more special is that it's not that he just excels in one area of the game. It's just so rare that you would see someone who's been released 4 times, went to ODU, was a walk-on there at ODU, right?
He was technically recruited, but it was
right.
Guy, his high school coach knew their coach there.
Right.
Yeah, but go ahead.
So the point I was trying to make, someone that raw and you would think would be either a speed receiver or just kind of like gifted in one way, like a go-get-it type receiver. We showed this on our pregame show, thanks to our friends at Leverage Studios who helped telestrate the video for us. And there was an example I showed of Travis Fulgham against the Steelers where he's lined up in the slot. So first thing you can see is that he's got positional versatility, right? He's played the X, he's played the Z, he plays the slot. So he's lined up in the slot against Steven Nelson, who's playing 10 yards off of him, okay? It's a pretty decent cushion. And what really struck me on this play is that he understood the nuance of route running. What he did was he runs a vertical stem about 10 yards right to Steven Nelson. He sees that Nelson is playing an inside leverage, which means Nelson's butt is toward the sideline. He's trying to force Fulgham to the inside, correct, right? Yep. So what Fulgham does on this route is he's going to run to the outside. He's breaking outside. But before he does that, he does what's called attacking a cornerback's leverage. He leans into his inside hip to get Nelson, who's already turned inward, even more turned inside, so that when he breaks to the outside, Nelson has to completely turn his body around to get his momentum going the other way. When you get a cornerback's body turned around, you have won because you now get the step on him to the sideline. Mm-hmm. Carson put it high, which Carson seems to do every single time, and Fulgham went up and high pointed it right at the highest point, which is by itself really special. But I was more impressed with his understanding of that route, that stem, the leverage that the corner was playing, how to attack it the right way, and then make the break to get open. It was beautiful. It was so nuanced and well done for a guy of no pedigree.
I agree. And what Greg Cosell said is he's got a great feeling for sort of nuanced routes. He just really has a great picture of what he wants to do. And you saw it against Dallas. You could see it on the TV copy. Mm-hmm. Is that he set up Trayvon Diggs. When run an unbelievable route, he got him badly. He got him to stumble. Is it the kid is, I mean, I hate to say special this early, but I don't know what else to say. The kid, he's got no flaws to his game. It's like, you ask people, I asked Greg this. I said, is there anything he could come up with anything he needed to improve on, like off the top of his head, because he's seen every snap he's had.
Yeah.
He does everything well. And you had said in passing there, they're not just lining him up at X, so they've lined him up in the slot. They've moved him. It's, it's also give their coaches credit to understand what he brings to the table. Because once you do it once, they keep giving you more. When you master it, they go, okay, we're going to give you more and more and more and more. And it's a great meld of performance by the player and the coaches understand what he brings.
Yeah, and what you mentioned that play against Dallas, and that also shows you his understanding of refined type of releases off the line of scrimmage where you're right, Trayvon's there, Diggs is across from him, and he does what's called a hesitation release where the ball snapped and you kind of chop your foot in place for him a second. And so that makes the corner think, all right, is he about to break in? Is he about to break out? Or is he about to run a vertical route? And he does, but because that split second made the corner think, it allows Fulgham to then go from foot chop to bam, right up the field and beat that guy by a step. So it's, again, that's stuff that a lot of good receivers in the league don't have down pat. I mean, he's got every quality. I mean, he doesn't run a 4.2, but that's okay because he runs quick for his size.
He runs fines, he runs. He's got real urgency. Like, he didn't have this, I'm told, with the Lions, but he sure has. Listen, he's been cut 4 times. Lions twice, Packers, and Eagles once. We forget, Geoff. He was cut at 53. Think about that.
Right. I know, it's amazing. All right, so here's the thing about him. The only not question, right? is that, and he's not a rookie, but he's kind of a first-year type player.
25 years old.
Yeah. It's not even the age. It's more that you've done it for 8 games.
Okay.
You got 8 more games to do it. There are going to be Cleveland and Seattle and all these teams are going to be coming after you and bang you around. Can you continue to do this week after week at a high level for not 8 games, but 16? That'll obviously be
Hey, you're going to draw more coverage. There's no doubt, although Cleveland doesn't cover very well and Seattle is awful at coverage. But you're right. They teams have seen this tape. Now they see it. When they start covering you differently, how do you react? Everything they've thrown at him, he's beaten. Like this is the craziest part about it.
Right.
Everything that teams, the opponents, like Pittsburgh, I thought for sure this would be the game where he falls flat in his face. Nope.
The best game.
Nope. He just didn't get it enough, but he was open. Carson missed him in that game. But the Pittsburgh game, and we could say all we want about Joe Hayden's older. The guy was a former pro bowler. The guy still can play.
Yeah.
And Wentz and Fulgham repeatedly beat him. So this is by the way, go get his 13 jersey. Well, you know what, folks? I'm assuming he's not going to change it from 13, but you might as well get it because this kid's going to he's going to stick here for a long time.
There you go. All right. There's one thing else that I want to talk about with
more
him.
Left at receiver. Oh my God. Go ahead.
No, not a receiver. Well, actually, let's finish tight ends, right? So,
sure.
We did tight ends. We did tight ends, right? I mean, there's really just Goddard and Ertz, and Ertz has to come back.
Okay, what I do want to see, though, before we move on to the coaches, because that'll close it out. Because there's a lot we need to get on coaches. I do want to see Goddard line up in the slot. If they think their offensive line can handle it, I want him line up in the slot where he's too big. He's a junior case Travis Kelce. That's how talented this kid is. Just been hurt. He's been hurt. But he looked great, by the way. I am told he looked phenomenal. His seal blocks were off the hook great. He was great in this past game. So he's ready to go here. Get him involved in the pass game, and I expect that to happen against a defense where you can beat them with a tight end against the Giants in Week 10.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with you. I just want to see these guys stay healthy, Adam. Yeah, I know people are tired of hearing me saying that.
Got to use them. They're out there. Got to play them.
Definitely so. All right, let's transition to the coaches. And one of my big things for the coaches, it goes back to Fulgham, is that they've got to also prepare for what we just said. The fact that he's, it's going to be his first full year. Teams are going to go after him. He's in a little bit of a honeymoon phase right now. It's really going to be on them to figure out ways to move him around, get him off if they start shadowing him with the top corner, got to get him the ball quicker. If there's 10 yards off a few times, give him the quick pass. They're going to have to make sure that they don't just get stale with Travis Fulgham just because he's performed really well over the first 8 weeks. That to me is something that they're going to have to keep their eyes on. And of course, Aaron Moorhead, who I think has done a pretty decent job here so far, has to stay on top of him as well.
He's had a lot of challenges. He's had a lot of challenges, injuries, and new players that come out of nowhere. Right. For sure. He's look, the guy played in the league, and he's going to be for starting next year. It's pretty much going to be all guys under 25 years old. I doubt that they're going to have anyone older than that, based on kind of where they are with Jeffrey and Djax. So if that's the case, then these kids got to grow with him.
There you go. All right, so. What is something you want to see specifically from the coaches?
Okay. We saw it against Dallas, and I love the game plan. I wrote in my notes, had not expected this against Dallas. We need to see more of this. They need a pre-snap motion. We would criticize Schwartz now for 3 years about the lack of pre-snap disguise for the quarterbacks to make them think. Well, you could do the same on offense. Eye candy, move them around, orbit motion, ghost motion, end arounds. It's funny. Every team does it to them. Start doing it to other teams. They started this game. Every game it should happen. I don't care who they're playing. I don't care when they play Dallas again. Keep doing it. Because when you put that kind of speed out there, Sanders, Hightower, Rager, Goddard in the slot. Who the hell am I missing here? I'm missing somebody.
Ward?
Ward's not fast at all. He's just.
Oh, you mean with speed? I'm sorry. Sanders.
Speed. Yeah.
Speed. Rager, Sanders. I mean,
Hightower.
Goddard, Hightower. Yeah. Quez Watkins, maybe.
I'm just going to say that you could put Watkins out there. Who could draw a penalty, whatever it is. There's things you can do. That's on the coach's self scout. They got to start doing that. That's on them. That it's been pretty weak until the Dallas game. I could not be less impressed by this staff in terms of the play calling. we've criticized Wentz enough. It's not all on the coaches. They have their share of the Wentz struggles, just because I think they need to do a better job of reaching them. Because we can only go by the results, and they're just simply not good enough.
Right.
But there's no reason if they have these guys. I don't want to hear the excuses that the offensive line's hurt. Bullshit. Come on.
Yeah.
You can still
I
do
agree.
stuff. I'm not taking that excuse. The owner wanted these. We know what happened. The owner wanted a lot of innovation.
Mm-hmm.
First time we've seen it in droves was the Dallas game. That's inexcusable. It's got to keep going. I'm glad they did in that game. I want to see it every game. No excuses.
Yeah, look, I would urge everybody who has all 22 or Game Pass on NFL.com to go watch Week 2 versus Cincinnati, the first half. I remember having this discussion with you. Week 3. My apologies. Week 3, first half. We had complained after the first 2 weeks that we were seeing none of that kind of Shanahan-style offense that we thought would be incorporated a little bit. Well, for whatever reason, first half, Week 3, Cincinnati, you saw it. And what I'm going to tell you that you would see is you'll have a guard and a tackle pulling to the right, but the play design is Miles Sanders to the left. Or, a center and a guard pulling to the left, but the play design is Sanders to the right, or somebody else, a Rager, or he was hurt, somebody else to the right. That's part of the stuff that you're talking about too, just the ingenuity and everything like that. But that's a big part of it that I haven't seen. It's not just about the motion, but there's got to be this the whole point of what the Shanahan style offense works is that the eye candy you're talking about isn't just a guy running across line of scrimmage. It's the linebackers have to follow the blocking schemes to make the tackle.
Because you make the defense declare. If you move guys before the snap, you get a pre-snap indicator, okay, as a play caller and a quarterback, okay, this is what they're doing. This is what they're going to do this game. It's not absolute because you could change and move guys, but the fact of the matter is they've got to do more of this, and this is why these guys are here. Andrew Bryant coming with college concepts from college football. Marty Morningweg worked with Donovan McNabb, worked with Steve Young, athletic quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson for a little bit. The list goes on and on with Marty, obviously. And then you've got Rich Scangarello, who came from the Shanahan system, who coached college football. At Wagner, he was an offensive coordinator who has college concepts. There's no excuse, and it's inexcusable for them not to do this every game. I don't want to hear it. If you want to be dynamic and you've got the speed on the field, this has the potential to be a top 5 offense. You could call me high. Some people have. But I'm telling you, this thing could be special. Even with Wentz's struggles, you could help him. And I want to see stack releases. I want to see, their splits are too wide. That's been a criticism from other teams because they – for years now, under Doug, the receivers out too wide. You could tighten them up a little bit. Then you can move them out.
I feel like they've done that a little bit more than they have in the past, though.
You can change it. You can change.
I'm saying I feel like they have played more tighter splits than they have in the past.
Yes, lately.
Yeah. And by the way, the point I was making before is also not just pre-snap, but post-snap. Like when the ball is snapped, if you're a right and left guard, pull to the left side, then that changes the gaps, and the linebackers have to go that direction. But if your run design is to the other side, then that has taken the linebackers out of their gap. It just changes the whole where you're running as opposed to where the blocking scheme is set up. So that's what I was getting at too with the misdirection.
One of my favorite plays from the old Steve Smith play, it's called Smoke, where it's a called run play at the line and only the quarterback. And if the corner is too far off, it's a smoke play. You throw it immediately to the receiver because then Steve Smith would burn the DB because get it at the line, and then he just goes crazy. He goes fast.
Yeah, Steve would throw a good stiff arm too by the time the coverage tried to catch up to him.
Man, I love that play. I first watched it in NFL films in like 03 with Jaws and Cosell, and I'm like, wow, that's called. Yeah, they just called it smoke, and I like this. It's like a smoke screen, but that's why they called it. But all it is a quick throw to the receiver at the line, and you get him one-on-one, and he should run right by the DB.
There you go. All right, before we get out of here, anything else on offense from the coaches that you?
I mean, that's it. They could be. I read like 20 questions, or a lot of them are really good on our message board. Right. They're all the same. They're seeing the same stuff we are. Mm-hmm. We were told innovation was coming. We hadn't seen it, other than a stuff here or there. And you brought all these coaches in, Peterson. It was, you have to say yes to it all, and despite who suggests them. Mm-hmm. And I want to see it. And if you do it, I promise you, this will be a top 10 offense the rest of the way.
All right, next podcast, we will do the defense, and that will drop on Monday morning. Now, the middle of next week, we will not have a game to break down like we normally do with our sourced intel. So I'm thinking that will be – we're going to do a lot of Q&A,
Ask
right?
ITB.
We're going to answer questions. Ask ITB.
Yeah, that'll probably be our biggest ITB show ever. We
Ask
got
ITB, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Ask ITB. Yeah, the questions from our board. We'll probably take some from Twitter, but yeah, I love doing them because one of the things that I love about these questions is our listeners will bring up stuff I don't even thought of. And by the way, some of these people coached. Some of these guys reached out to me privately, and they coach in college football or maybe lower level, but they really know football. Go, hey, could you discuss this? I'm like, shit, this is a great question. As Geoff and I have said, sometimes they actually make out segments. Like some of the questions will go, you know what? Let's form not the question, but the topic.
Right.
We've done it over the last couple of years. They're so bring it.
Yeah,
we'll do
please do. Yeah, you can hit us up on Twitter at Inside Birds, at Geoff Mosher NFL, at Caplan NFL.
Is it hashtag Ask
ITB?
Yeah, we'll start that on Monday. We'll start that over the weekend for sure. Yes.
Right, and you can also. We prefer that you can leave a question on the Facebook community page, the Inside the Birds Facebook community page. And also, as we've done in the past, you can go, if you leave us a 5-star review on Apple, their review platform, we will certainly answer your question there. And even if you don't have a question, it would be great if you could just go to Apple and give us a 5-star review. We'd appreciate it. We'd love to get those reviews up. So please go to the Apple podcast platform if you're an Apple listener and leave us a 5-star review. And we'd be very, very much appreciated of it. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles intel. Thanks to our producer, Hunter Brody. Go to YouTube and check him out, Sports Talk with Broads, and also check him out on Twitter at Broads81. And as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the Birds.